Hey everyone, today I'm going to be taking a look at Chaos Zero Nightmare, which is an upcoming roguelike deck building gacha game that is currently having its beta playtest. I was fortunate enough to be invited to try out the game this weekend, and so all of the gameplay and information that you're going to be seeing in this video is coming from that playtest. So disclaimer, it is an early access version of the game, things are not final, things are subject to change. And with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into it. Now, when it comes down to this game, of course, deck building roguelike, right up my alley. I love roguelike games, deck builders I quite enjoy as well. Things like Slay the Spire, Monster Train, Cardon CL, those are probably the three that I've played the most. But Slay the Spire is probably a game that you've heard about before, and if you have played that one, then a lot of things that you're going to be seeing here will feel very familiar when it comes down to the roguelike side of the game. Now, it is also still a gacha game, and if you can kind of think about it, gacha game, roguelike elements. How are these things going to combine? Well, it's probably exactly how you imagine it would be. You gacha for new characters. Every character has a specific set of cards that they bring with them into a roguelike run, and then in the roguelike run itself, it is essentially like any other deck building games where you just go through a run, you unlock new cards, you unlock new effects on existing cards, you get equipment that makes your character stronger through either stat increases or through special effects. And then you will also get special cards that are only available in the run itself, and they are going to be pulling from a pool of normal cards, as they try and explain it. So when it comes down to replayability, it's going to come in two factors. On one hand, you're getting new characters as the game gets updated over the coming weeks that it's out, I guess, because every couple of weeks we will probably get a new character added to the game. New character means new cards, means new playstyle to play with, and then they will also be having some sort of a seasonal model, as they have said, which is going to be where every season a bunch of common cards get taken out of the game and a bunch of new ones get added to the game. So that's kind of how the replayability of the game is going to be there. On one hand, you've got new characters being added over time, and on the other hand, every time a new season begins, a bunch of common cards are going to be rolling around into some new ones. So let's then take a look at all of the different content that is available for the game in the beta, because of course it is still a beta version, not everything is available to us just yet, but there is a little bit of speculation that we can be making already based on some of the systems that we will be looking at. So first things first, we of course have our missions. This is where you are going to be starting the game. We're going to be starting out by playing a little bit of story all the way in chapter 1. Once we play through the prologue, that is where we then kind of start to get to the meat and potatoes of the game, which is the roguelike mode. This is going to be called the Chaos mode, again, Chaos Zero Nightmare, it's kind of in the name, and this will be your normal roguelike deck building game mode. Every chapter has one of them, so as you can see here in chapter 2, we have Twin Star Shadow, and then in chapter 3 we have another one over here, City of Mist. And as you progress through the story, you will be unlocking these different zones where you can then go in and play the roguelike game mode separately from the story as well. Outside of that, the story itself is primarily just going to be actual just story, where you have a visual novel style of story that plays out. The thing that I was very surprised by is that all of the main story missions actually are fully voice acted, not something that I was expecting, but the side stories, those are not going to be voice acted. So when it comes down to the story missions, it's primarily just going to be text-based story with voice acting that you can listen to. Then every chapter will have one roguelike game mode style of mission that you have to complete. And then you might also have a couple of stages where you fight just waves of enemies or a boss enemy at the end of the chapter. After you then do some story, you will also unlock battle missions, and these are exactly what you would expect. You just fight enemies, either be a boss or a bunch of waves of enemies, and then when you complete said mission, you get some rewards for doing so, and if you complete it within a specific amount of time, you get some bonus rewards as well, as you can see over here. Now, at the end of each chapter, you will also get a promotion mission, and when you complete that, your account level gets upgraded, or your account rank gets upgraded, I guess you could say. As you can see here in chapter 1, it gives us beginner captain, and then at chapter 2, all the way at the end, it gives us intermediate captain. And then of course when we go through chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it might be, your account rank will steadily upgrade that way. Now, this comes into play when we go and look at our characters. So right now, the max level that we can obtain in the beta is level 30, because if I want to promote my character to go to level 40, you see that I need Veteran Captain, and well, I don't have that promotion mission available to me just yet. If you've played Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Xenoblade Zone Zero, any of the Hoyoverse games really, then a lot of the gacha systems that you'll be seeing in this game are going to feel very familiar. Like this promotion system, for example. Your characters will start at level 1, and then, oh, I guess I already upgraded this one earlier, but you get them to level 10, then you promote them, now they can go to level 20, then again you promote them, you farm these materials, now they can go to level 30, and then once they're at level 30, you can again hit the promotion button to get them to level 40, 50, and then eventually 60, which will be the maximum that you can obtain in this game, if I am correct with like reading this UI element. Then we also have the cards of our characters. So we have the starter cards. This is what you will bring into a roguelike run with you at the beginning. And these unique cards are cards that you will get access to as you progress further through the roguelike mode. Cool thing as well is that these cards also have their own separate upgrades. So as you can see, these are all the potential upgrades that I can get from this card, turning it from a normal skill where I just gain a shield and gain counter to it becoming an upgrade where at the start of a turn I gain crystallize and counter applies to all enemies, or it can just straight up turn into an attack where I get a shield and I deal damage to enemies equal to how much shield that I have on me. Changes how the character plays, and I think that's a pretty cool way how each run will also still feel unique from each other. And we have a character's ego skill. This is essentially their ultimate, and this is going to interact with the ego point gauge, which you'll see when I talk about the roguelike mode itself, or just the combat in general. Restore card motion, this is just cosmetic stuff that you'll be able to unlock through the gacha system as well, which I'll talk about more in just a bit. The partner is then going to be the weapon, the light cone, the wenjin, whatever you might call it, that you can then equip on your characters. These are also based on the role that your character has. So as you can see over here, Magna, for example, is a Vanguard, so she can equip Vanguard partners to then trigger that additional effect of getting 12% increased defenses, for example. And then when I am targeting enemies that are vulnerable, I deal 10% more defense-based damage. Every partner also has an ego skill, which in this case is going to give me 2 morale and 1 fortitude for 1 turn when I activate this. This is again going to be interacting with the ego point gauge, and this one will cost me 2 ego points, whereas my character's ultimate was going to cost me 5 ego points. Then we have save data. Now this is something that I think is really cool and really fun to play with, because a lot of roguelikes, you kind of get to the end of a run, you feel super powerful, you've got a really nice fun build going, and then you lose all of it because the run is done. However, in this game, you actually get to save what your character looked like at the end of a run in terms of the cards that you have, in terms of your equipment, and you can see it over here that depending on the run, the cards look a bit different, the equipment looks a bit different as well, and you can switch this out depending on what content that you want to do. Or let's say, for example, you did a new run, your character's way stronger than the best save file you had so far, just switch it out. You can also have 3 favorites that you can select as well, and you can also customize what your save file will look like. So for example, I can take this and I can just like put some elements on it or whatever, so that I know that this is like this specific save file that I want to use the most, but then maybe for another build I want to use this one because this one has like some extra cards, better equipment or whatever. So you can kind of switch these around depending on what you're doing in the game. So I think it's really cool how you kind of upgrade your character, you make it stronger, like you go through the story, you play the simulation, which I'll take a look at just a second, to like level up your character, level up the passives and whatnot, and then you take it into the roguelike mode, you then finish a run, and at the end of the run, you get that save data that you can then take into the rest of the game again. So when you play your battle challenges, when you do like your farming content, your characters are going to have access to the fun builds that you were able to get together doing the roguelike game mode. So I think it's really cool. Potential is then going to be where you upgrade the passives of your character. These will be certain things like, for example, first epiphany selection. This is the base upgrade that every character gets. What epiphanies are, I'll talk about when we talk about the combat section itself. But then you've got basic upgrades like your cards are just stronger, your neutral cards, aka common cards, are stronger. This is then, for example, specific to the character again, as this will add 1 counter to my basic card. So for example, this card over here, normally it doesn't have that counter attack 1 attached to it, it just deals the damage. But if I get this passive unlocked, it does get the counter attack 1, and this is again unique to each character to kind of like build more into their specific playstyle, and this character's playstyle specifically is all about just gaining a bunch of counter stacks, putting up a big shield, and then every time the enemies hit into you, you just counter them and deal a bunch of damage. Then also these last 2 nodes over here on the top will kind of dictate on how you want to build your character as well. For example, for her, if your defense is greater than 350, you get 5% justice damage, and justice is her like attribute, I guess you could say, which I'll take a look at that real quick over here as well. So here you have passion, justice, order, instinct, void damage. These are the damage types of the game. So think fire, ice, lightning, like whatever damage, right? That's that going to be. But in her case, once you get to 350, she gets 5% extra. And then for every 10 defense exceeding this, you get 1 extra percent, going up to 10%. So you want at least 450 defense on her before you start investing into maybe like crit rate, crit damage, so that you can max out this passive. Again, the materials that you need for this come from the simulation, which I'll talk about that in just a second. The last thing that we can upgrade then are our manifest egos, and this is where the duplicates are going to come into play. Unfortunately enough, looking back at Epic 7, which is the previous game that they made, in Epic 7, duplicates are kind of worthless, which is good, because it means that you're not incentivized to pull for 5-star dupes. However, in this game, again, looking at Honkai Star Rail, they are going to be adding to the gameplay of your character. So in this case, reduces this card's cost from 2 to 1. This is going to add the freeze effect whenever you counter. This is going to increase the damage of a specific card and change your counter damage to 30%. This is going to make it so that you no longer reduce vulnerable. This is going to add +3 levels to all of these passives. And then you get an enhanced counter at the start of the turn. Kind of unfortunate that all of these gameplay elements or power are going to be locked behind getting duplicates. But again, if you're a free-to-play player or a light spender, this is probably something that you will not interact with whatsoever for 5 stars. For 4 stars, you'll probably be able to max this out eventually, but for 5 stars, you probably will never get these. It's a little bit unfortunate that the constellation system from Genshin is in this game as well. But as you can see from like how you upgrade your characters, there are a lot of similarities between this and the Hoyoverse games. Now, the only thing that's missing here is the gear system. We don't have the gear system in the beta, but it's highly likely that there will be one, because how the hell am I otherwise going to reach 450 defense on this character? And this one, for example, has a potential over here where you want to have 60% crit chance. And well, I only have like 3% at base, and I can get, I think it's like 10% through this passive over here. So yeah, I'm never really going to reach 60 without gear, but there's a couple of stages in simulation that are still locked. So let's talk about that next. Simulation. This is where we go and we farm for upgrades. So this is where we get experience materials. This is where we get those promotion materials to uncap the character to the next level. Same thing for your partners. Potential is then to upgrade those passives, and the challenge is again to upgrade those special passives as well. However, just like with Honkai Star Rail or the other Hoyoverse games, you can only challenge this 3 times a week. Memory Fragment, no clue what this is gonna be. I need to like promote, but that's not in the beta just yet. And then Basin of Hyperspace, also still locked in the beta. I am imagining that this is where we're going to be farming for gear. Now the cool thing is, this is where you use your save data from your characters from the roguelike mode, so you get to kind of breeze through this if you got some really powerful builds. And the good thing as well is that you can auto through all of these stages, so you don't actually have to interact with this, like consciously, I guess you could say, to just farm this out if this is something that you don't really care for. If you're just here for the roguelike element, you get to just enjoy that, and then all the farming stuff in the game, you just get to put the game on auto and let it do its thing. And then just come back whenever it's done, and then you can take everything that you farmed, upgrade your characters, and then head straight into the roguelike mode. So let's talk about that next. Chaos mode. Zero system, again, not unlocked, so I don't really know exactly what that is going to be about, but Chaos Manifestation is the roguelike mode. So currently for the roguelike mode, we have 3 chapters in the game, so we have 1 Chaos Dungeon for each chapter, and I'll just head straight into this one over here. so that I can kind of just showcase what the combat is going to be like. I'll put on difficulty 2 as well, so it's kind of like more on par with my character levels. I'm not going to play through the entirety of the roguelike mode, because then we're going to be here for another half an hour, and this video is already going to be long enough as it is. But I at least want to kind of like showcase how the combat works. So at the beginning of a run, you get to select one of 3 blessings. I guess I'm just going to take this one, or you know what, let's take more recovery just in case. Wouldn't hurt, but I mean, it's probably not really going to do anything, because we're not going to play very far. So we can open up the map over here. Again, if you've played Slay the Spire, this will probably look very familiar to you. The red areas are just normal combat areas. The question marks are special events. The yellow ones are the rest zones, where you get to rest, restore your HP, reduce your stress level, and also buy cards if there is a merchant, for example. Which, can I see one over here? This rest area has a merchant, for example. And in the purple area, that is where you fight an elite monster, and beating an elite will give you a piece of equipment. Then we also have, of course, the boss at the end of the run as well. So that's what the map kind of looks like. Let's go straight down the middle, because I do want to go ahead and fight that elite. So I guess I'll play until we beat the elite. Then you can kind of see what the gameplay is like. So, the Epiphany system, I already quickly spoke about that before, but when you're in combat, your characters will sometimes get a light bulb, meaning that they have an epiphany, and then one of their cards will be lighting up. So in this case, it's this card that it wants me to use. So if I use this card, it is going to trigger the epiphany, which allows me to choose one of 2 other cards. I'm going to be taking this one, because it was something that I wanted to check out with that card as well. So there we go, I got my epiphany. Whenever you get an epiphany, you also get a free usage of the card that you got with it, which I think is kind of nice. So that is how we are going to be getting that. The enemy is also going to be attacking me, as you can see over here with the double sword icon. You can click on the enemy, you can also see what they're going to do. He's going to deal 20 damage times 2 to me, but I think I can just kill the enemy straight up, and we don't have to care about that. So that's kind of like how the Epiphany works. Sometimes your characters will just have an idea, and you use the card that has the Epiphany on it, and then you get new cards or upgrades to your cards, just like that. So over here we have a random event. We have 3 options to us: outcome unpredictable, repeat the event, roll a dice and get some equipment, or gain a curse card and get an epiphany. So I can roll the dice here, and then I get, at the start of the first turn, gain action points equal to the number of Outbreak of War cards. I don't have any Outbreak of War cards in my deck just yet. I might get them if I get the upgrade for it, but I think I'm just going to get the Epiphany instead. I don't really care too much about getting 1 negative card in my deck. Let's see what we get. At the end of the turn, if it's in hand, deal 2% damage to max HP. Or increase random combated stress by 3, or I can just play it and it's exhaust card, so it'll be gone if I just use it. So we'll take her to receive an epiphany, and oh, that's a really good card actually. So when I discard 2 cards, I'm gonna get some dirge bullets. Her whole mechanic is around the dirge bullets, so that would be quite good. So moving on into the next combat. Let's see what we got. I'll also explain the rest of the UI a little bit more, I guess. So on the top left, we have our HP. This is a shared HP pool, so no, all of the enemies are single targeting my healer, and now my healer is dead kind of situation, so that's really nice. Underneath that, the gray bars, those are the stress levels of your characters. And when the stress level is maxed out, they have a mental breakdown, which takes them out of the fight until they can recover from the mental breakdown. So kind of a very dangerous situation to be in. However, when you do recover from the mental breakdown, you get essentially a free use of their ultimate, which is really nice. So we can kind of like turn the fight around if you manage to recover quickly. And on the left, we have our deck. We have 10 cards left in this case. We have the EP gauge, and as you can see, I can use my companion skills or my partner skills, I guess. Or I can also use my character ultimate. In this case, this is one of the ultimates, but I don't have enough EP to use that ultimate just yet. Now, I am, however, going to be using my partner skill, because this gives me 25% crit chance, and I have a lot of attack cards that I get to spend. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to see if I can maybe go ahead and kill these enemies right here. So I get to choose which of these 2 I want. This upgrade is really nice, because it makes all my 1-cost cards do 40% more damage, and well, my main carry has a lot of 1-cost cards that do a lot of damage, so it's just a really good upgrade to have. Upgrades are also passives that persist throughout the entirety of the combat as well, so you play them once and then it's just applied for the rest of this specific combat. Now, when you look at the enemies, you can also see that they have a number in red next to their HP bar, and this is going to showcase you how many cards I can play before they do their thing. So right now this enemy has a blinking 1, which means that if I play this card, this enemy is going to go. So I'm going to discard these two because I don't need them. And then now the enemy is going to do their ability, which in this case was going to be a shield, so I don't really have to care about that too much. But in 4 turns, this enemy is going to attack, or when I end my turn. If you end your turn, the enemies take theirs, but if you just keep playing cards until the timer reaches 0, they will kind of like interrupt your turn. So any end of turn mechanics that you might have going on with your team, they might get wasted if the enemy takes their turn before you finish yours. So over here, I'm just going to be doing this. If the enemy is dead, it can of course not deal damage to me. And then we can end our turn here. We even had 1 leftover energy. This one's gonna attack me, but I can just kill it right here. And then we move on to the elite fight, I believe. And that is then where I will kind of end the little combat showcase. So let's see what we got. We start with, oh, amazing, upgrade. This one's really nice, because elite is an effect that if it's the first card played, it might get 0 cost. So in this case, it gets the 0 cost. If I play something else first, then I lose the 0 cost on it. So I really need to play it as the first card. But this gives me crystallization, and at the start of every turn, I'm going to get 1 counter as well. So that's going to be really nice. And I'm going to take Ice Wall, because it means that my counter will apply to all enemies, and I also gain counter 2 for 1 turn, and a shield on top of that. So really nice. And because it is the first time I get it through the Epiphany, also cost me 0 skills, or like 0 points to use. Then I have another upgrade to increase my 1 cost damage cards. And then let's play this one as well. Again, gets an Epiphany through it, I get a random card. Another good card. Whenever I gain a shield, gain counter. So I'm going to be racking up a lot of counter points with this character. And then the only thing I have left to do is just use an attack skill. But if I hit on my characters over here, you can see that I currently have 3 counter stacks. So the next 3 hits I'm going to be taking, I am going to be countering. And I'm going to be hitting all the enemies with that as well. So I should be doing a decent amount of damage over here, because he hits me twice. So 1, 2 counters. And then this enemy... oh, he didn't hit me twice, because he just gave me some annoying cards. I'm gonna get rid of my schizophrenia, so I don't take the annoying debuff from that. I can actually discard the status ailment, so that's really nice. Just get me some damage, discard what I don't need. And then I'm gonna just play my dirge bullets, boom boom, and then I'm gonna ult, spend my EP gauge, and then the elite mob is dead. There we go, bunch of damage, eliminated. And then I get my equipment. This is random what you get. Fixed shield upon defeating an enemy. Well, I'll just give that to my shield character. Also boosts her defense. And then I get some credits. And there we go. End of the elite fight. So that's where I'm going to kind of like end the showcase for the combat. Because of course, I don't want to make this video like an hour long. I am planning on doing like some roguelike runs, where I just go through the entirety of a roguelike run with different teams, because there are a lot of characters in the game, as you can see right here. These are all the characters that I currently have, so I've quickly leveled them all to 20, which is where I can kind of just play through like level 2 difficulty or something like that. So I will just be taking them through roguelike runs to kind of just showcase all of the different characters and their abilities. And also to just test them out for myself, because there's a lot of characters in here that I have not used myself yet. I've mainly been playing with the 3 that are level 30, because that's kind of my favorite team right now. But there's a lot of other cool characters in here that have some very nice playstyles. So to then end the video, let's very quickly look at Rescue, aka the gacha system, because, well, it is a gacha game, so people are probably interested in it. Currently, there's only 3 banners. There will be a 4th one on release, which is with the limited characters. And again, staying with the theme of it's just Honkai Star Rail but different. There is going to be a 50-50 the first time that you hit pity, and if you fail the pity, then you get a standard banner character. And then of course there is also a weapon banner over here. It does seem like you get to pick the target for the weapon banner, so that's kind of nice. And then we also have the prism module banner. This is for getting prism modules, which allow you, if I go back to my combatants over here, this one, for example here with cards, there we go. you can see that one of these cards has got like a prismatic effect where it's like animated, it's a little bit shiny. That is basically what you will be pulling for. So far it seems like you can just get this gacha currency from just playing the game. So I'll just do one pull over here real quick, skip, and well, I got something useless, but that was to be expected. But yeah, basically every 10 pulls you get a 4-star module, and then you get to just make your cards shiny. When it comes down to the normal gacha, I'll just do like one pull as well. I'll let the animation play out. It's, well, basically Honkai Star Rail, 70 pulls to guarantee. I believe after 50 pulls, there is like an increasing chance of you like getting a character or something like that, like a 5-star. And then over here, as you can see, 5-star targets, the default chances are applied to the first to 57th pull. And then from that point onwards, you get a 4.5% increase all the way to the 69th pull, where at the 70th, it's guaranteed that you are going to be getting the 5-star character. So yeah, that's basically how the gacha system works. It's exactly the same as Honkai Star Rail. There's also a shop, which again, just the same as Honkai Star Rail. You can spend 600 of these to buy a companion or partner for a specific character, or you just get to spend them on more gacha pulls. Zeronium, this comes from the Zero thing, Zero system, but it's not unlocked in the game, so we don't get to interact with this. And then the exchange shop, this is where you can go and exchange for these prism thingies. But again, this is just going to be cosmetic stuff. So that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. If you have any more questions about the game, then feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll also leave a link to the website where you can go pre-register for the game if you're interested in it and you want to play it on release. I definitely am going to do so because, well, I like roguelike deck building games a lot. I also play a fair amount of gacha games, kind of addicted to them. So this game is just something that I was very interested in, and now after having played the beta quite a bit, I'm very happy with what I have played so far, and I am very interested to see where this game is gonna go come release. I'm definitely gonna be making some videos on this once the game comes out. I'm also gonna be making some roguelike runs, like just complete roguelike runs with all the different characters leading up to release, so I might release like one video a week of that. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with that just yet. But yeah, that's something that you can expect over the coming weeks. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for me for this video. So I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.